I'm just waiting for you to do something stupid.
I never do that.
Whatever. Hey, what's up you guys? Today we are going to talk about my husband's AIT experience at Fort Eustis. So first things we're going to talk about, what was your MOS?
15 uniform, CH-47 repairs, Chinook. Just change parts, that's all we do.
So first thing we're going to talk about, if you have not seen my video already, make sure you watch me dropping off him at AIT. That is also in my Fort Jackson graduation video, so I will have little doodads that pop up on there. So I remember dropping you off. We drove around Fort Eustis, like we drove around the block like 500 times because you didn't know what you were doing. But I know like the whole day up to, like we went to the park, like you didn't have to be there till like 5 o'clock, so.
So I remember they tell you what time you have to be dropped off at basic, like the last week you're there. They kind of go through and tell you like when you need to be there.
So,
don't be late.
As I said before in my other video, that if they are not on the same side of Mississippi as their AIT, you cannot take them to AIT. So it is a case-by-case basis, so just be aware of that. We didn't find out that I could take him to AIT until about the week before he graduated. I kind of had an idea, but we had never discussed it, so it wasn't in my original plans. So that's something you might want to talk about before you go. But the whole experience, like we dropped him off, we went in, he stepped on the rug. Don't step on the rug.
Don't step on the rug, especially if you're at Fort Eustis. So
don't step on your rugs.
Hopefully you have battle buddies to help you out on that.
So
you know not to.
I brought him in, and then we went and got his stuff, and then as we were walking in, like all the guys that were like waiting under the little awning thing all came up and like grabbed his stuff, and I was like, okay, bye.
If you get like, it might be the same there, but like you kind of know when the people who like replaced you at boot camp, you know when they're coming, so like everybody tries to mug you to like find out where you're from, if you're from the same spot. If all the drill sergeants are still there, like tell you how bad it is, even though it's not that bad.
So I remember I dropped him off, they all like surrounded him, and I was like, okay, bye, and then got in the car, and I think I cried the entire way to the airport in the rain, like a movie. And then he didn't even care.
You're just a popular guy.
Anyway, so we'll go ahead and get into the questions. I don't think he was emotional at all, but I do remember you knocked on the drill sergeant's door twice.
Yeah, so like where I was, you had to, unless you're basically dying, like you don't talk to the drill sergeant for the first 15 or after the first 15 minutes of the hour. And so, but I mean, it's different when you first get there because you gotta check in. So they told me to like knock on the door, and the guy that was with me, he's like, "Oh, I don't think you knocked loud enough." And so I knocked again, and the drill sergeant we had, he ended up being one of my favorite ones there. He left like halfway through, but he came out, and he's like, got in my face. He's like, "Don't you ever knock on my door more than once." He's like, "I heard you." And the guy that was beside me, he's like, "Oh, it's my fault. I told him to." And he's like, "I didn't know if you heard him or not." And so he made the joke about how his drill sergeant hat gave him supersonic hearing. He could hear everything.
Was a funny story. So my first question is, what was it like when you first arrived? So like after I dropped you off and you got yelled at.
I mean, I ended up, I think I was like the first one there for my class, but we ended up, I just had to hang out with all the holdovers, which don't pay a whole lot of attention to them because they're usually like bitter people that are getting kicked out anyway. But you think that they know what's all going on, but like I said, they're all bitter, so don't take what they say to heart too much. And I mean, like, just sat and watched TV for like an hour until it was time to go to dinner.
Which was probably amazing because you hadn't watched TV in like...
Well, no, because when we were there, the only thing that you could watch there was like either History Channel or the Discovery Channel, so it all had to be like educational TV. We ain't, like, if I was gonna watch something, I want to watch something cool.
But you still hadn't watched TV, so...
Yeah, but it was probably some dumb show. That, and I mean, you're still like kind of nervous, but like, because same thing, it's just transitioning to a new place, so you don't really know what's going on. You're like, this is really weird. It's like, I don't know if I'm actually supposed to be in here. And then like one of the guys that, like, I had to go to the bathroom really bad because I've been drinking my Camelback the whole time. And so they told me to go use this one guy's room. And just like didn't want to be weird, so I like talked to him for a little bit, and then I walked out and someone was like, yeah, don't hang out with that guy too much, you'll get in trouble. Because he was like a pyro kid, so find out a lot of
interesting people at AIT. What was the first week like?
For like the first 2.5 days, like, we did in processing, so it was like really boring. So like the first, I got dropped off on a Friday.
Yeah, Friday night.
Okay, so actually like Saturday, Sunday was just like typical weekend where you just hang out. You still have no idea what's going on.
Oh no.
Everything's still like super weird because you're transitioning from basic where everything was pretty strict to AIT, which you have people like, you know, on information and everything. So that was like a really awkward transition.
Culture shock.
And then, so that's all we did for like, we didn't know either, but like, so Saturday and Sunday you could still hang out with family up until like 6 o'clock at night.
Again, probably case by case basis.
Probably. So I had to hang out with all like the people who were all bitter all weekend. And so then like Monday morning we started in processing, and that took probably most of the day. Second day we went and got our AIT stuff, which it was a little bit different than...
Quit fidgeting!
It was a little different than what you get basically. You don't get near as much stuff. And then Wednesday we started school, so there was like half a day of school, and then you just like get into your routine.
He kind of found out like that first week, like when he'd be graduating. So like he told me that. He got his roommates, his bunk. They find out if they're going to be in the night class or the daytime classes. So
yeah, depending on like how many people are in your MOS, you can either have like 2 or 3 shifts. So like we had people that, like, I was on day shifts, which I'm kind of glad I was. So like we get up probably 4:30, 4:45, start getting ready to go downstairs for PT, hit breakfast, morning class, go to lunch, afternoon class, and your dinner, and you're done for the day. So then like the nighttime class, I think they got up at like 10 or so. That was just for them to go to breakfast, and they came back. I think they had like free time during the day while we were in class, and then they hit lunch, which was like at 4 o'clock for them, and then they started their morning, I guess. So they did their morning, had dinner, and then they didn't get done till like midnight, and then they had PT from like 12 to 1 because it was hot, it was summer. And so just like depending on where you are, or like your time schedule, like everything's gonna differ. So hopefully you get day class. It's a lot better.
What or how was AIT compared to basic training?
As far as what?
How was it?
It's a lot more relaxed. find out like what you can actually get away with. The drill sergeants at AIT, they're actually like some of them are pretty funny too, but you can actually approach them and talk to them a lot more because they're actually there to get you in and get you out because they don't want to be there either. So I don't know. It's just a lot more relaxed overall. You can gain more freedom there. So
Depends on the AIT too. 'Cause
probably.
I'm sure there's some that are more strict than others.
Yeah, this is just all my experience.
What differences did you have between your AIT versus some of the other people you know? Jetta, go lay down. Sorry.
So
Dog's army crawling under the table to get pet.
the only time she'll do that.
All right.
So where I was, you were able to have your phone the whole time. Some people, they would have them or they would take your phone just like basic for probably the first month or so.
Dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
On your bed.
On your bed. Thank you. All right.
So yeah, so cell phone's a big deal. I mean, as far as that, I didn't really talk to too many other people. There was a kid that I was at basic with. He wasn't a kid, he was my age, but there was a guy at basic that I was with. He was in just a different company. You know, I mean,
It was diagonal from him, pretty much.
just the freedoms from company to company are different too. So that's all dependent on how.
He didn't have his phone the first week, did he?
I don't remember if he did. It might have been the same thing. Like, lock all your stuff up because if you leave it out, it gets taken. Like, I have it to my roommate all the time. Well, I got tired of locking this stuff up anyway, so I just left it unlocked all the time. And I told my other roommate not to lock it either.
So, and then like we've watched videos of people that had like different experiences where like they didn't have freedom at all. It was like a continuation of like basic, but I think it just depends.
That's all gonna be based in my OST. You're disgusting.
You're disgusting.
Because I mean, like, I think they just said that they extended the. What are they?
Airborne?
The infantry. I don't remember what they're. 11 Bravo, 12 Bravo.
The infantry.
Whatever they are. I think they just extended their. What was that? OST?
What's that?
That's extended to like 20 or 22 weeks now. So I mean, this shit is basic for 22 weeks. So.
Fun. Explain the differences between phase and 4 and 5.
So, at least with us, like phase 4 and phase 5. Phase 5 was like total freedom, and phase 5 you're allowed to go off post on weekends. Actually, they had 5+ where you could go off during the week, but usually, but you had to be back by 8 o'clock anyway. So
It wasn't worth it.
well, you get as soon as you hit dinner chow, if you're 5+, you can just go straight back to the barracks. But you also have to have somebody that's also phase 5+. So that like fluctuates from class to class because certain people are more motivated to get it than others. But because it's all based off of like PT and classroom scores. So like phase 4, you're pretty much a lot of formations, especially on weekends, which sucks. Because I had phase 5.
It was literally sit, formation. All right, go back, formation.
Well, I mean, like probably one of the last weeks I was there. I mean, we had formation like every hour on a Saturday, just because drill sergeant was pissed off at everybody for whatever. Like it doesn't matter. So.
I think they had mandatory fun one day. It was great.
Well, we had every time he was there, we had mandatory fun every weekend. Somebody always got hurt.
Mandatory fun.
Mandatory injury.
Mandatory injury. They were allowed to like go to the PX and stuff
Yeah, weekend
on
like.
phase 4.
Well, yeah, because they want. Obviously, you need to.
Get a haircut.
Well, Yeah, depending on how fast your hair grows, it could be every week, every other week.
They want to spend all their money they earned at basic.
Pretty much. Don't buy a bunch of stupid stuff. Like,
So it wasn't like the first week you were there, someone rolled by a big old speaker they bought there.
Yeah, he had that already though, but he was allowed to have that. Oh, I had to lock it up during the week, so he just had it on the weekend. But yeah, it was like a $600
Friends
speaker
and stuff that bought a whole bunch of shoes, and it's just like you just spent all the money you just made on stupid shit.
Yeah. Listen to the financial class you gotta take week 1 or 2.
I think like the first month, like every Saturday they had a class, so like they did the
We did.
financial, like
So-
sexual harassment.
Yeah, it was like the first 3 weekends. So like you weren't allowed to get phase 5 until week 4, I think.
You had to do like a bunch of things.
So you have there you had three weekend trainings. So like the actual first weekend when you get there from basic, you don't do it. So but like your first full week, that weekend you have, I think that was financial class for us. And then the second one was sharp class, which was sexual harassment. And then also, I forget what the other one was. We had
You
an
went to the
afternoon class.
museum.
Well, that was week 3. So week 3 you did the museum and you were done. And you could actually get phase 5 if you had everything done already. Because you usually have your PT test by then.
He did everything, he just didn't do good on his PT test. And like he passed his PT test, but he didn't have high enough scores because they want you to
so
hit a
You
standard.
gotta have 70%, not 60 just to pass. So they want you to exceed.
Yeah. What were your barracks like?
Ours was really nice because ours was only 2 years old, so we had like a brand new building. But so like depending on where you are too, some of them let you have food and stuff. We weren't allowed to because they said some of the other ones had roaches because they have food up in their rooms.
Gross.
But, I mean, like we had roaches all over at basic, so it wasn't a big deal to us.
Roommates are great.
So where I was, we only had 3 to a room. I know like we had some of the tank guys are like 91 alphas or something like that. They have open barracks just like basic, so you still have 40 people that you're rooming with. Like us, we basically lived in a big hotel. So we had the laundry room was pretty much the like basic where you had probably 20, 25 washers and dryers, but like we all had our own showers, they all had our own bathroom. I know,
You had
like,
to clean it.
yeah, you gotta clean your room every day. Make sure you get all the pink mold off. We got in trouble for that like the first week we were there, so we all got a counseling for that.
Make sure you walk up your stuff and make your bed.
Yeah. Like the first or second week I was there, I accidentally left my locker unlocked. The drill sergeant put my rucksack in the shower. So then all my stuff was wet and I had to dry it out. That was the same one that did all the other stuff. Well, he was the one that had the mandatory fun.
Mandatory fun.
The other drill sergeant was the one that had all the funny stories.
Talk about the drill sergeant that did that stuff during PT.
Yeah.
So make sure your stuff's right, or else your whole room might be destroyed when you come back to it.
We had to dump our trash out every day. If you didn't, they just dump it out in the middle of your room and kicked it around. Lock your stuff up or it gets thrown all over. We were out at PT one morning and we had drill sergeant that was on night shift. He would get off right when we were going to PT, so you knew he was going up because that was like one of the joys of his shift. So he would go up there and walk through all the rooms, make sure everything was locked up, and if it wasn't, you would come back, your room wasn't trashed. And it sucked for us because, like, it kind of got more relaxed, but I'm sure now it was like more strict again because we were like going through transition of drill sergeants. Like we had a bunch leaving as I was going through, and we were getting new ones. Anyway, so we were out at PT one morning, and we all knew he was up checking rooms or whatever, which I knew I was good at that point. But well, that you knew like where your window was too, so like you would count where you were and just knew like where your room was from the outside of the building. So like he was down like 4 or 5 rooms from me. All of a sudden, like it's dark out too because it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and like window just comes flying open with the blinds, and he's standing in the window, just like staring at us, and he knows he has all of our attention because everybody's looking at him. And so he goes over, and this locker door is just flying open, and he's standing there all cross-armed and stuff. All of a sudden, like shoes go flying over his head. Takes clothes out and just like throws them everywhere. He grabbed a uniform off the hanger, started like twirling them around in the window, and everybody's like just laughing non-stop. And then we got in trouble for that because we were laughing. The drill sergeant was like, "What are you guys laughing at?" And somebody's like, "Turn around and look real quick." And so then we seen the other drill sergeant up in the winter. He's seen him. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "Whatever." He's like, "Just stop." But so we got away with it after that. But he did that, and he caught some people out. So like we weren't allowed to use Ubers and stuff like other companies were. But like our commander, his wife did Uber, so we weren't allowed to, just in case. But he was sitting at the gate watching people come on, and I mean he knows faces because that's his job. Then he sees this car start coming through. Well, when you go there too, if you go through the visitor check, everybody's got to get out, so he knows who people are. And so he followed this car, watched them get dropped off, and they literally got dropped off like right across the street. And he pulls up beside the Uber, and he's like, "Oh, look who I caught!" Like starts making fun of him. So I was actually on CQ when this all happened. So he comes in, just starts like bragging about how he caught people getting out of Ubers and stuff. He goes, "Man, I caught him." He's like, "I don't even gotta try that hard and all this." And he's like, "I love my job." Like he got there before they did because they had to walk over. He just drove and walked into the building. And so they come walking in. He's like, "Man, I just phased you up this morning." He's like, "This is the best part of my job. I phase people down 10 hours after I phase them up." But I mean, they got it back like the next week, so it is what it is.
CQ is kind of like their fire guard thing, so you need to know. He had a really funny night at CQ because people would like sleep through their shifts.
That was a different one. So like that, the first one I just talked about, that was a weekend shift, which weekends are like 2 hours long, and I mean you just rotate. But like during the week you have hour shifts overnight. So
during the day, right in the middle of lunch. No, it was like middle of dinner for you that one time.
The hour shifts during the week, that's all dependent on your school schedule. So like depending on what shift you have, they have enough people to cover, and then if you're a hold, you have to cover fire guard too, so you might get it more than once a week, or well, during the week. But so like ours was usually middle of the night, or well, always middle of the night. It's hard to say. So fire guard for my class shift was from 6 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning. On the weekend, you could get it whenever. So I think mine was like 3 in the morning or something like that. So we had woke up at like midnight because somebody didn't wake up for their shift. So they woke up our entire floor. We all had to go outside, wait for whoever to get changed, go down, get to the desk and all that. So then we went up. Like by this point I was mad anyway because I had to do it in like an hour after that. That was the shift right before me that did that. So then I went upstairs, literally got like 10 minutes of sleep, had to get up to change because we had to be 15 minutes early or you were late. And so I pretty much just got changed like after we went up for that. Well, then I got down to my shift and I let the guy that I was with go after we got relieved by one person, but you had to wait for the second person to come down. Well, he never showed up. So then I finally went and found the drill sergeant after like 10 minutes. I was like, yeah, this guy's not coming down. I don't know where he is. Like the joy on his face was priceless. Like I didn't even care at that point. Like I had to get up in like an hour to go do PT anyway, so like my whole night was screwed. But yeah, just the joy on his face, cause like he came up and he had like the same pitch whistle like our fire alarm, so he would go up and like blow it because he knew what it sounded like. Cause it was just
loved his job.
Yeah, like he had fun with everything.
I love my job.
Well, no, that was a different drill sergeant.
They're all the same. What was the funniest thing that happened at AIT?
We had Wills. He took a bath in hydraulic fluid. He pulled down a hydraulic pump and he just like got sprayed. Anyway, it smelled so bad because it was like 40-year-old hydraulic fluid. And they told him, they're like, go change your shirt. Like somebody was like, it smells like cat piss. Because I mean that's what it smelled like. I don't know, there's a lot of good stories. Like the drill sergeant stories, which I already said those.
I was like getting them out of the way.
And then the one drill sergeant that blew the whistle, like he would make mazes on weekends when you had to turn in laundry, because you had to turn in laundry every week. And he would make mazes out of the tables. And he would watch to make sure you didn't like try to go through. So and then he would do his fast pass where he would like ask people questions, and if you got the answer right, you got to cut everybody. And if you got it wrong, you had to go to the end of the one.
What's the worst thing that happened?
Just getting woke up in night by drill sergeants. So like my roommate, he was gone one time. Or well, he wasn't gone. He was upstairs where he wasn't supposed to be. And came in because they were doing their room checks. So like our shift, we were supposed to be in bed. The night shift, they didn't care because they're different curfew than we did. But my roommate went up to go watch a UFC fight, I guess, because somebody bought the pay-per-view and was streaming it on the TV. And so like they come in, have a flashlight like shining in my face, and I was like, look at him. Oh, where's your roommate? I don't know. I was asleep. Like he was here when I went to bed. I don't know where he went. And I just went back to bed. But like just stupid stuff like that. Or like when people miss their shifts, like waking up because well, especially if you had CQ next, like you weren't looking forward to that anyway.
His roommate drove him crazy.
Yeah, pick your roommates wisely if you get to.
They may trick you.
Yeah. Terrible choices.
What was your best memory? One of memories, no?
Probably just like getting to meet Marina. He's my buddy.
He's got a BFF now. They text all the time.
Yeah, sort of.
They make fun of each other.
Yeah.
Goals. What's your worst memory?
My other roommate. Or my roommate.
The bad roommate. His one roommate still texts him all the time. He was his man child.
Older than me.
What was the last 2 weeks like?
Anxious, you're just ready to go home. Well, in my case, go home. Well, everybody, I guess, got to go home. Some of them, if you're active duty, you get the option to go do hometown recruiting. So you'll like go home and work. Depending on who your recruiter is, if they like you, they'll let you leave. Just not do anything. If the recruiter's kind of a dickhead, they'll make you come in and actually work with them. So
fun.
I don't know. It'd be kind of cool, like sometimes, because like if you're younger, you could potentially like go back to your old high school and kind of like trick people into joining the army.
It's like, what didn't the active people had to stay till midnight?
Yeah. So like when we graduation day get released, like National Guard and Reserve, we all got to go home. Or well, not home. We got to leave with our family.
You could have gone home.
Well,
we just
whatever.
didn't.
You get to leave with your family, where if you're active duty, if your family is there, you're not allowed to leave post till midnight because that's when. So with active duty, you take the leave. So your leave doesn't actually begin till midnight because that's the next day.
So all of his other buddies were like stuck midnight, and he's like out freedom, and he's like taking pictures of himself at Walmart buying beer and like eating food, and they're like,
living life.
Like, I hate you. Just a word to the wise, because I know like we didn't really have much planned, but it took him about 2 hours to out process. So he like finished graduation at like 10.
That was a funny story.
He wasn't done until like 11, 12.
Oh, that was one of
2. It was hot, and he was in his dress uniform. And somebody complained the entire way there. Said roommate. They were all betting on like how long.
Oh yeah, we had one kid that's like, how many times do you think he's gonna complain? Like 5 or 6? Like, it's way more. Like we counted the whole way, and then like we were making fun of Moreno. I was giving well, because he kept talking about how his feet hurt. So I looked at Perkins, was like, how many times Moreno gonna say his feet hurt? Like 8? He's like, no, more. And so then like we were making fun of him the whole way, because like, so every time the one guy complained, like we'd be like 1, 2. So we started doing the same thing with Moreno. So anytime he said anything, we'd be like 1. He's like, I didn't even say anything. It was just funny.
Advice to someone going to Fort Eustis.
Get phase 5, get off the base, because the base sucks.
Base wasn't that bad. It wasn't Fort Jackson.
No, it sucks because like you're watching, especially if you have friends on phase 5. Like it sucks because you're stuck there, and like the earlier you can go to permanent party defect, the better, especially for breakfast. Otherwise, you'll be there for like an hour and a half just waiting to get food.
And their barracks were like right next to the PX, and there was like a Starbucks right there, so they'd go there every morning when they were phase 5.
If you have phase 5.
If you have phase 5.
Potentially, phase 4 can go there. Don't get caught.
Don't do it.
Don't get caught. Like, I didn't do it, but I mean, they said like the night shift. They said sometimes they'd let them go. You could go there for drinks. You weren't allowed to get food.
Stupid. It's the same thing. Advice to someone to survive AIT.
Call home. Yeah, like, well,
if you can.
If you're me, you have your phone. Like with us, we're allowed to have like iPads and stuff. Do not have a computer that says gaming, or they'll take it because it's a gaming device, not a computer, even though it's a computer. And you can game on a regular computer. I don't know. Just
do well on your PT test, your actual test. He had me motivate him every day, so I was like, you need to get your phase 5, so work hard. I made him work out in his bedroom. That's how he got phase 5.
practice push-ups, sit-ups.
Well, the test will probably be different by then, but
Maybe. Well, yeah, probably.
practice your PT stuff so you can phase up and don't lose it.
Sucks.
He got it and then he lost it because he didn't keep practicing. So, any other good stories that we missed?
I don't think so. Probably is, but can't think of any.
Anyways, if you like this video and like to see more AIT informational videos in the future, comment those down below and let us know. Also, questions, we can answer it in another video if you would like. And don't forget to subscribe. And I forgot what else I was gonna say, so we're just gonna close this out. Anything else from you?
Nope.
right. We'll see you all next time.